What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have so much to talk about today. The stock market went crazy. Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Starbucks are going crazy on the earnings reports. We're going to go over all of those companies. We also have the Robinhood IPO this week. And then on top of that, we have the FOMC meeting. There is so much to talk about. Make sure to stick around to the end of this video to hear all the important news and get some solid plays for the rest of the week. But if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. But Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, stocks are mixed all across the board. We had Apple report, Microsoft, Google, and Starbucks. There's a lot more too, but those are the main ones. Apple right now is actually just mixed in after hours trading. They actually demolished their earnings. Their revenue is 81.41 billion versus a 73.3 billion estimate, up 36% year over year, and also killed that estimate, which is awesome. And then the EPS was 1.30 versus a 1.01 estimate. So that's great for Apple. Their iPhone revenue really beat it as well, beating it by about $5 billion. So that's awesome, up 49.78% year over year, almost 50%. So that's great news for the iPhone. I know a lot of people have been talking about that stuff lately as well. And then also Microsoft reported, but Microsoft did not fare as well as Apple. Microsoft actually down quite a bit in after hours here. Their EPS was 2.17 per share versus a 1.92 expected EPS. But I should say the revenue was pretty good, 46.15 billion versus a 44.24 billion. But at the same time, they just failed to kind of get those numbers up there. I know they have a lot coming out with like Windows 11 and stuff like that as well. So there's definitely a lot going on with Windows, but then Google reported earnings as well. And, they actually did fantastic. Google is up quite a bit in after hours. This is actually a pretty good move. Their EPS was a 27.26 EPS versus a 19.34 EPS. That's a huge beat. Their revenue was 61.8 billion versus a 56.16 billion estimate. So, man, they're really beating it all across the board at Google. I know their YouTube advertising revenue is up, cloud revenue is up, traffic acquisition cost was up as well. So, all around, Google's doing very well. Overall, it seems like that these tech stocks have done pretty decent, with Apple and Google at least doing well, but Microsoft is actually falling off pretty well.
Yeah, so long story short, these stocks did pretty well fundamentally. They made a lot of money. They had good quarters, but Microsoft and Starbucks are falling off the board in after hours. Apple's kind of mixed and Google's popping up. But here's the thing, like we saw with Tesla yesterday, they actually reported good earnings like these stocks did today. But if we look at Tesla today, it's down 2% and it lost all of its gains from after hours yesterday. So in my opinion, the main thing to watch out for is the market's reaction to these earnings come tomorrow morning. Because when we saw all of the volume come in this morning on Tesla, it tanked down. So we're in for a very volatile week, guys. Don't forget we have that FOMC meeting tomorrow around 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If Powell says some crazy stuff, the markets can definitely move. And then, Tom, we have that Robinhood IPO too, right?
Yeah, Robinhood is going to be IPOing sometime this week, according to CNBC, trading under the ticker symbol HOOD, Hood. So it should be a pretty interesting IPO coming up. They're having a valuation as much as $35 billion. And the thing is, nobody really knows which way it's going to go, but CNBC analysts kind of expect it to be pretty aggressive. So let's see how it ends up looking. But in the end, Robinhood's a pretty good company and they might do pretty well. But a lot of people have been kind of downing Robinhood and saying that their IPO might do pretty bad because of all the, technical problems and just everything that happened with AMC and stuff. So definitely have your eyes out. And then, like you said, that FOMC meetings tomorrow, Powell will be talking at around 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. And what's interesting is that the market kind of sold off today. We saw Apple kind of go down before these earnings came out. We saw a lot of tech stocks across the board kind of go down. The QQQ ended up red. And in the end, it just seemed like a lot of stocks were selling off ahead of this event. And it just seems like people are just kind of taking profits, especially, like big institutions and stuff. And it's kind of like, it kind of makes a lot of sense, because why hold through this risk? At least hold 100%. I'm sure that they're not selling out of all their positions, but in the end, it's good to trim somewhat whenever these big events happen.
You know it. And then, Tom, can you pull up the picture for the rest of the earnings for this week? I know that we have a huge week. A lot of huge companies are reporting. We can see tomorrow we have Boeing, Shopify, PayPal, Facebook, McDonald's, a lot of big companies. On Thursday, we have Amazon, Pinterest, MasterCard. And then on Friday, Caterpillar, PG, ExxonMobil, Chevron. So we have a pretty big week ahead of us. But I would say today was definitely the biggest, with Apple, Microsoft, Google, Starbucks, and even AMD. So there's a lot of craziness going on right now. But let's get right into the member of the day. Today's Discord member of the day is Kieran Stryker. Huge shout out. Thanks for being a great member of the community. You're super active, and I know you had a pretty good day. So huge shout out, Kieran Stryker. Thanks for being a great member. But now it's time for these momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have XPEV to the downside.
Yeah, unfortunately, this stock's been going down, but make it fall below 33.86, fall right below that 34 support, and I think it'll be a pretty good move to the downside.
All right, and then with the next one, Tom, we have our stock, Disney, to the upside.
Yeah, Disney's actually doing really well. If that can break out above 179.60, I think we'll see a pretty good move.
All right, and then with the last one, we have VXX to the upside.
Yeah, VXX did very well today. Make it break out above 32.50.
Sounds good. So we are watching VXX and Disney for potential day trades tomorrow to the upside, only if it breaks above the level Tom listed. And we are watching XPEV for a potential day trade to the downside tomorrow, only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. But Tom, we got to showcase the bots play from today. It called out VXX calls around $183 each, and they ran all the way up to over $240 each. If you want to get plays like this from the bot every single day, you can click that first link in the description down below. It also includes swing trades, other day trades, custom bots, order flow bots, and an amazing community, especially if you're an options trader. So definitely check it out. It's that first link in the description down below, and you can cancel at any time. The bot's been doing pretty well lately, so definitely check it out. But now let's get right into the unusual options activity for tomorrow. We are looking at the mRNA 320 strike puts that expired this Friday, July 30th. And this one's tricky. So it's around, you could say like $7 out of the money. It's also a weekly, but man, this stock has been going crazy lately. It had a ton of buyers over the past month, but I think it's about to turn over. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's about to turn over too. It's been having a crazy week. Like you said, it's actually been falling off of those highs pretty well. And, today was just another red day for it. So I'm definitely looking for that type of momentum to kind of continue for the rest of the week. Even if we see a small green day tomorrow, I think that we'll still see some more downwards momentum heading into these earnings on August 5th. But man, Moderna is so far overextended. I could see it really falling, especially down towards that 300 support or even lower.
Sounds good. And then let's get right into the questions from the previous episode. With the first question, we have Z saying, what do you guys think of NRXP? So this one's kind of interesting. It's not really a setup for me. In my opinion, the chart looks horrible. It's been making lower highs. I saw there was a ton of volume that came in recently. It's just not a setup for me. It could pop. I mean, it's nice that it's close to its support levels, right around you could say right around that $17 level. I hope it does pop if you're in it, but it's definitely not a play for me.
Yeah, me either. It's definitely going to be super risky, and I just think there's definitely a lot better setups out there like Zoom, Palantir, and a couple other stocks that are a lot lower right now.
For sure. And then with the next question, we have Luke saying, hey, Mike and Tom, love the channel. Could you guys go over CRSR? And I like this one. So I like it for the long term, and I think it's decent for a dip buy for the short term too. One thing to watch out for is that they have earnings pretty soon, so that's always a coin flip. But I actually like this one. I'm really eyeing leaps on it.
Yeah, and they're actually right at that support down there by 28.50. So hopefully they can keep going up. They actually hit that low today and then ended up going right back to the upside. So that's a really good sign to see. And I honestly like it too. I think it'll be good for the longer term. In the shorter term, it could always keep going down, but I would definitely get some time on this one.
All right, and then we have Rara saying, "Great video as usual. Thanks for everything you guys do. Palantir is so confusing. I love the stock, but it can't seem to hold above $24. What do you guys see it doing in the short term?" So it's tricky. I also love the company for the long term, but looking at it, it's definitely been struggling. It is making higher lows, which is great. Personally, I think it's about to rise over the next couple weeks. Tom, do you have any levels or anything on this one?
In the short term, there's a pretty good support down here, right around $21. It actually fell down to there, pretty close to that today, and then rose right off of there. So I'll definitely be looking for 21. It hit off of there in the past. $20.50 was also a pretty big level there. So somewhere within there seems like a decent level for Palantir. But man, as far as like an upper resistance level, it looks like 2250 is going to be a pretty good upper resistance. And honestly, we're pretty far away from there. So I think that we could see some pretty good day trading opportunities if we see Palantir start to go to the upside. But it's just all going to depend on how this stock kind of opens up tomorrow with all these earnings going on.
All right, and then we have Jack Tastic saying, "Where and how is the best place to find the best setups for writing calls and selling puts for high premium?" So I wouldn't say that there's just like one specific scanner or like anything like that. I think ultimately it just I personally like I just like to have like a nice watch list of stocks for this. Some of my favorite stocks to like sell puts on, Neo's pretty good, Redfin's pretty good. UPWK is pretty good. Upwork. Let me look at my watch list. I know Enphase isn't bad. Palantir's pretty good. DraftKings is pretty good. And also lately, with all the China China craziness, you can say FXI is pretty good. It fell off the board over the past couple days, you can say. IV shooting up, and you can get some pretty good deals selling puts on FXI.
Yeah, this one actually looks pretty decent, Mike. It looks like it's trying to pop back to the upside too. So it looks like right now, especially with that IV being so high, it would definitely be a pretty good opportunity. But man, is this a China stock?
It's basically a China ETF, so it's just a combination of a bunch of them.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, definitely pretty risky right now. But I would say it could be pretty good. I mean, hopefully Baba and a lot of those type of stocks end up going back up. And I would definitely say they should soon, especially with how much that they're starting to fall below support, especially with Baba kind of fell below that $200 support and just kept tanking right off of that. But I love how it kind of recovered back up today. And over the past few days, it hasn't really recovered up kind of like it did today. So that's a pretty good sign.
You know it. And then we have Tap saying got into LCID, but around 10 a.m. Central, it was circling, but I'm sure it can easily go up to Neo's level. What do you guys think? So keep in mind, the valuations between Neo and Lucid are pretty significant. Neo is valued a lot higher than Lucid, but if you're talking about like a price standpoint, LCID is right around, like you could say, like $25 right now, and Neo's close to 40. So yeah, it's definitely possible for it to run up. I mean, I think it would take quite a lot of catalyst to see them at the same level in terms of valuation. But if Lucid has some really good news come out, then it could definitely run up to around that $39 or $40 level.
Yeah, and Lucid's just they're kind of like in the very beginning phases right now. Neo is kind of very established and they have a lot of sales over there in China. So that's a good thing for Neo. And I think Neo will be a lot better longer term, but LCID could always catch up to them. It's just going to depend, like Mike said, I think, on the news. And, if they start obviously generating a lot of sales over here in the States or something, then I think that they'll be fantastic. But until they do that, it'll just kind of be like, just one of those hype stocks, I think, just for the meantime.
All right, and then we had Avosi asking about Disney. So I love this stock for the long term. Honestly, it's probably my favorite play. Like I said, this is a long term play. It's more of an investment than a trade. I think they're an amazing company, and I really like the way they've been moving. But Tom, what do you think about this one for the short term?
For the short term, there's a pretty good resistance coming up right around $180. You could say right around 179.50, but man, it's honestly getting really close to that. But it looks like it wants to pop up through. We are going to have earnings coming up pretty soon on August 12th. So, they're coming up within the next month. It's not like they're coming up next week or anything, but within a couple weeks. And I think that we might see a pop up above 180. We've been really consolidating at it for a long time, and it just seems like that we're getting ready for a nice move up above there. I don't know if we're going to see some good news come out with some earnings or with some park updates or something like that, but I would definitely hope that Disney could start to pop up above this 180 resistance. It seems very strong, and we closed right at 179.56 today, so we're getting really close.
Yeah, so guys, definitely check out the bot. It's that first link in the description down below if you want daily options, swing trades, day trades, unusual options activity in a great community. It's that first link in the description down below. The bot has been on fire. Like I said, the bot called out the VIX calls around $183 today, and they ran up past $240 each. It's that first link in the description down below. But Tom, do you have any last minute stocks or anything you are watching for tomorrow?
Man, I'm going to be very careful tomorrow. I think that the SPY fell right down to support today, hit right off of 420 or $436, I should say, and hit right off of there, went right up towards the end of the day. I think that's a really good support down there at 436. I'm really going to be watching for it to break that possibly tomorrow. With Powell talking towards the end of the day, it might have to break below that in after hours, of course, but definitely keep your eye out. And I think that it's just going to be a pretty big day tomorrow. Are we going to see a sell-off heading into Powell speaking, or are we going to see these type of earnings like Boeing in the morning kind of push the markets up? So there's a lot of different scenarios that can go on. And in the end, it's always good to kind of limit your risk, especially with stuff that we're seeing right now. And we saw the market kind of sell off today. I think some of the bigger traders were kind of limiting the risk today.
You know it. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. But other than that, thanks for watching.